Hello and welcome back. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for the calls. Thank you for the comments. I want to spend more time with you on a one-on-one. So feel free to give me a call. Business people, students, I've talked to so many different varieties of people, it's incredible. And that's why I'm making these videos, is to make a positive difference in people's lives. And today's topic is the importance of mentoring, the importance of having a mentor. And I want to talk to you about my current mentor.
Here's where my little son was a national honor.
Yeah, this is what you were telling me about yesterday. And you found this today?
I found it 5 minutes ago.
That's pretty amazing.
I'm cleaning out some of the stuff we have.
I have several mentors in my life in different areas of my life. But in 2001, our company, Pacebutler, got hit with a class action lawsuit. And I did not know what to do. I was losing everything financially. We were being sued for over $200 million. That was the amount that we were probably somewhat liable because of the law. And I didn't know what to do. I knew that I needed to downsize our company to stay alive, and I didn't have anybody to walk down the path with me. And that's one thing that a mentor does. A mentor is a person that has been there and done it and is willing to share with us how they got down that path. So in 2001, we were sued. Pacebutler Corporation was sued for sending a fax without permission. In 1996, our federal government passed a law that said you could not send a solicitation to an individual or an organization, I guess, without permission. And we were sending a fax out that said, we want to buy your company's used computers, which I felt was not a solicitation. And there were a lot of issues, but when the federal government comes after a little company, or when big time class action lawsuit attorneys come after a little company, it costs a lot of money to defend yourself. And I didn't know what to do. So one of the things I made a decision to do was to sell my building and to move into a much smaller business, a much smaller building. And I made a phone call to a landlord that I had rented a small place from back in 1980. This is 2001. I had his phone number to his company memorized. And so I just called that number and I said, look, I need to rent a place to move my business. And he picked up on the fact that just in my tone of voice, that I was depressed. And he said to me, you sound depressed. And I said, I am. And he said, tell me what's going on. So briefly, in a 2 or 3 minute session on the phone, I told him what was going on. I was being sued, I was losing everything, I needed to move into a smaller building. And he said, let's have lunch. A week later, we had lunch at a restaurant in Oklahoma City, and he was there before I got there. And I walked in, I was very depressed, I was suicidal, I was emotional, I was losing everything, I'd lost hope. And I'll never forget what he said in the very beginning of that luncheon. He said, Tom, I know how you feel. I've been there, and together we will get through this. That gave me hope. He'd been there. Not exactly the same thing, but he had a lot of the same things that happened. This was in 2001. Yesterday morning, Tuesday morning, I sat down with my mentor, Malcolm Hall of Oklahoma City. We have met every week when both of us are in town for coffee and discussion. It started out at lunch and we moved it to breakfast, and we've been meeting for breakfast, for coffee actually, since 2001. So over 20 years. He has given me 30 minutes to an hour of his time. And I have learned so much. And my world has gotten bigger because he's got years in advance. He's a businessman. He's an attorney. He's a landlord. He's a family man. He's got children. He's got a wife. He's got so much. He's been down the path before me. And he shares with me his experiences. He shares with me his feelings. And I do the same with him. And he's one person that I've been able to be totally transparent about everything in my life, from business to family to every area of my life. And it's been interesting because 20 years, when I met him, he was in his 60s. And now obviously he's in his 80s. And he's had some issues with his health. He's had issues with his business. He's had issues with the government, with his family. And we've walked this path together, transparently. And it has helped me to have faith in God. It's helped me to have faith that things can work out when we feel like there's no way. His problems are like this, and my problems are like this. And if he can handle problems of this magnitude, I obviously can handle problems like this. But one of the things that Malcolm talks about is the importance of celebration, celebrating our victories. You know, I share my victories with my wife, but sometimes she doesn't understand. But when I share my business victories with my mentor, he fully gets it. He knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to have an issue with making payroll. He knows what it's like when you have to make deposits, financial deposits, because of estimates for taxes. He knows what it's like when you have a key employee leave. He knows what it's like when you hire a new key employee. He knows about business transactions and deals. He knows about books and he knows about experiences. It always amazes me about the people that have come into his life over the period of time being in business, and all the things he's been able to do to make a contribution to society and to make the world a better place. You know, Malcolm has what I would call entry-level commercial properties, helping young entrepreneurs, helping people that are not heavily funded, where they can have a place, a warehouse, or an office building at a very reasonable price. He helps people, and he's helped me. And he's helped me to get through some very, very difficult times. In the beginning, when the class action lawsuit was going on and my business was falling apart, I would come and I would just share with him for 15 minutes of a 30-minute or 45-minute meeting about how bad everything was going. And he would just listen. And then afterwards, he would share his experience with things similar. And that gave me hope. And he made some suggestions during those first couple of years that I didn't agree with. But he had walked the path and he had become successful. And I made a decision to try it his way. And by doing that, I was able to recover. We didn't have to bankrupt the company. We didn't have to close the business. There were some changes that had to be made. But we got through it, because if I kept doing what I was doing, I would keep getting the same results. And his suggestions were to do some things that were different. Malcolm and I are great friends. When he suffers, I suffer. When he has victories, I have victories. There's been times where we haven't been able to spend as much time because he travels. He has a house at Martha's Vineyard. He has a house in Mexico. He has houses in Oklahoma City. But I have always looked forward to meeting with him on a weekly basis. Not because what I can get, but I owe a debt to him that he gave his time and he gave me hope back in 2001, 2002. We've done some fun things. I ended up renting a helicopter one time to get from the mainland to Martha's Vineyard so I could be on time to his daughter's wedding. He was amazed that I would do something like that, but I'd given him my commitment that I would be there at the rehearsal dinner, no matter what it took. You know, we've been on trips together. I got to go to the vineyard another time, and My family, our entire family went to the Vineyard, and I had sticker shock, quite honestly. Everything was like 3 times the price it is in Oklahoma City. We had a good time, but when we got back from that vacation, I told my wife we needed to go on another vacation. And the first department store we went to was Walmart. And I love the prices at Walmart in Oklahoma City. There's no Walmart at Martha's Vineyard. And we had a great week. We had a great time at the Vineyard and then on our second vacation. I've watched his daughter get married. So many things to be able to be that close to someone that's experiencing life that's quite a bit older than me. You know, I don't know today, honestly, if I would be alive, if I wouldn't have committed suicide, if Malcolm hadn't got into my life in 2002. Because I contemplated suicide a lot in the 2001, 2002. I wanted to give up. I didn't see any way that we could possibly get through that. And I asked God, I said, why is this happening to me? And then I would sit down with Malcolm once a week. And of course, he'd take my phone calls in between. But I really wanted to get through this. And Malcolm helped me to do that. If you don't have a mentor in your life, get one. And if you're not mentoring someone, you should be mentoring people. I mentor a lot of people today from all walks of life. Because of the book, Mentor, The Kid and the CEO, I get a lot of phone calls. And because of these videos we're making, I'm willing to share my experience in any area that I have an experience, that I have achieved some kind of success. I've achieved success in long distance running. I run over 50 marathons. I've achieved success in skiing. I've achieved success in travel, in a marriage, having children, getting clean and sober, getting off of drugs and alcohol, writing a book. I've written a book, Mentor, the Kid and the CEO, that's successful. And I'm willing to share with people that really want to take action, not just dreamers, but people that have something that they want to accomplish. Malcolm accomplishes things. He takes massive action. Even in his 80s, he's still taking massive action. He's still doing great things to help people. He shared with me yesterday that there's a church camp that is closed down for various reasons. And one of the things he would like to see happen is that church camp reopen. You know, that kind of inspired me. That inspired me. That somebody of Malcolm's age would still want to open a church camp. You know, there was one time said that there was a man in his 90s and he was planting a tree. And somebody said, why are you planting a tree? You won't live to see it grow. And he said, I'm planting this tree for the next generations. You know, what is your legacy going to be when you leave Earth? Are you going to be just a couple of numbers with a dash in between? Or are you going to leave a legacy of positive actions? Something that you did that made this world a little better place. Thank you for tuning in. Share this with your friends. Hit the like button. Leave a comment down below. And feel free to call me because my phone number is down below. And you can give me a call. I'll answer the phone. It's really simple. So thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.